Hold your breath, okay?
You want to know why I'm missing a jaw? Because I looked back. That's why. Yeah, I know, sounds super vague. But when you're stuck in purgatory, you follow the goddamn rules. There's only 3 of them, and you'd think that'd make things easier. But no. Some people, me included, are curious little shits. Rule 1, don't talk. Rule 2, don't touch anything that moves. Rule 3, don't look back. That last one? It's not metaphorical. It's not some thought-provoking moral compass trauma you're supposed to work out. It's literal. Don't turn your fucking head. My head throbbed in pulses, like someone had carved a migraine into the back of my skull with a rusted spoon. I rolled onto my back, blinking through the dim yellow light overhead. Fluorescent, flickering, one bulb out. That kind of flicker that feels intentional. The room was square. No windows. One steel door, and no handle on this side. The walls were concrete, cracked, gray, painted once in some off-white color that time had smeared into piss and nicotine. There was something medical about it, or industrial. A hospital basement, maybe. Or one of those slaughterhouses you only see in whistleblower documentaries, where they blur the cow's eyes to make it less personal. No furniture. No cameras I could see. Just that door. And the smell. Something stale and moldy. Like leaving your clothes in the washer for a week, but sharper. I sat up slow. Muscles stiff, neck cricked and sore. First thought? I got blackout drunk again and wandered into some old place. Second thought? Organ harvesting. It made sense. I'd been drunk and it would have been easy, drop something in my drink. Last thing I remembered was a motel in Tucson, and some girl named Lexi. Or Leslie. Whatever. She had the kind of fake laugh that covered real damage. Should have known better. But I was also not known for making the best decisions. This had that vibe. Waking up cut open and stitched back up somewhere. Body used. Dumped. I pressed my palms to my chest. No incisions. No pain. Heartbeat steady. Skin cold, though. The walls didn't move, so I'm guessing I was out long enough for the alcohol to work its way out of my system. I checked my crotch. Nope, didn't piss myself. The door caught my eye again. No light under it. No sound. Just the weight of it. Like it was waiting for me to make the first move. I tried yelling, Hey, anyone out there? Nothing. No echo even. Just the dead suck of silence. So I stood. Legs wobbly but intact. No bandages anywhere and no cuffs. Just me in what looked like the same clothes I wore before. Jeans, boots, bloodstained t-shirt that didn't look like mine. Then I noticed the note on the back of the door. A torn scrap of yellowed paper scrawled in thick black marker. Don't look back. No signature, no context. Just that. I yanked it off the metal. Heart beating harder now. Not from fear, exactly. More like a buzzing panic under the surface, like something was off in ways my brain hadn't caught up to yet. I don't like not knowing what's going on, so I pushed down my panic and tried to replace it with irritation. Don't look back? What does that even mean? Had I come from somewhere? There wasn't another door. I looked around again. The corners of the room were dark, oppressive, as if they absorbed the light rather than faded into it. I kept staring into that blackness and kept expecting to see an outline of something, but nothing jumped out. And yet, I swore I could hear breathing. No, fuck that. That's the panic talking. The door clicked, loud. I realized it had a mechanical lock. Then it opened an inch. Just enough to let me know it was unlocked now. That's when the real dread kicked in. Deep. In the gut. That prehistoric kind of fear. The kind that says fight or flight, without knowing where to run. I didn't look back. I opened the door and stepped into the hallway. 20 feet in, I saw the first door. Steel, like the one I came from. But dented. Bent outward. Like something had tried to claw its way out. A bloody smear trailed out from under it. I kept walking. Second door had a window. Plexiglass, I think. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. Inside, a kid, maybe 10, sitting on the floor, hugging his knees, rocking back and forth slightly. He was wearing my old football jersey. The moment I saw him, I knew I had to still be drunk, or maybe the residual effect of whatever I was drugged with. Because the kid, it had no face, just smooth skin where it should have been. He turned to me anyway, like he knew. I kept moving. Third door, chains on the outside. Something on the other side pressed up against it, breathing, wet, snorting. I didn't stop to check it out, and now the panic I was suppressing came back. The hallway bent. A sharp left turn led me to writing on the corner wall. Don't look back. I followed the corridor like it owed me answers, step by step, blood trail to blood trail. The stink of rot started to thicken, coating my tongue like bile. Something was wrong with the lights now. They weren't flickering. They were sinking, buzzing harder the closer I got to the next door, like the hallway itself was having a fucking seizure in anticipation. I slowed at a wide metal double door. No handle, just a dented surface peppered with handwritten names, etched deep with fingernails or knives, scratched in blood, or worse. One name caught my eye. Blake Hale. That's me. That's my name. I didn't write that. I didn't even touch this door. The letters were still wet. I backed away slowly, dread rising in my throat. Then I heard it. Behind me. Footsteps. Light. Bare. Moving slow. I froze. Don't look back. I pressed forward faster now. My heart felt like it was trying to climb through my ribs. The hallway narrowed again. Tighter, like a coffin sliding shut. And then I saw her. Slumped against the wall, arms wrapped around her shins, shaking her head back and forth. Blonde, young, maybe early 20s. Torn nightgown stained with whatever grime was in this place. I edged toward her, slowly. Hey, are you okay? She didn't answer. I was about to ask again, but she looked up. Her lips were shredded, like she'd been chewing on them to keep from screaming. And her eyes, they were gone, just hollow sockets. And somehow, tears still ran down her face.
I looked back.
She whispered, then smiled. The kind of smile you never forget. The kind that said she wasn't in there anymore. Her head twitched violently, like something inside her pulled a wire too tight. She grabbed my wrist.
You still have your skin. Lucky.
I yanked away, heart jackhammering. She started laughing, soft at first, then too loud. Then all at once it cut off, like someone pressed pause on her lungs. Her body went stiff. I bolted. The hallway opened into a wide chamber, dim and wet. The ceiling had collapsed in places, beams sagging with mold and ancient wire. It smelled like shit and antiseptic, as if a sewer fucked a hospital. There were bags on the floor, black, dozens of them, and some moved. One of them was already open. My stomach dropped before I even got close. I almost spun and ran back the way I came. Then I remembered. Don't look back. I knew what I was going to see. And I still looked. It was me, not a little bit like me. Not dreamlike, not metaphoric. It was me. Shirt torn, boots off, chest wide open like a split roast, heart missing, eyes gouged. My mouth was still open like I died screaming. On my arm, there was a tag. Blake Hale, violation number 1, reversal, do not reconstruct. I stumbled back, gagged and slipped in something wet. That's when I heard the thing behind me speak. It spoke in a harsh, low tone, as if bones were cracking. Guttural, like it was trying to grind out sound. Fear crawled up my back and to my scalp like 1,000 spiders marching across my skin. I almost did it. I almost turned. Then it mimicked my voice. Hey, are you okay? Same voice, same tone. It giggled, like a recording playing backward through broken vocal cords. I ran. I didn't look back. Not even once. But I could feel it gaining. That was my first mistake. I didn't look back, but I did talk. It was after I saw the guy tucked into a corner. I should have walked past him. Should have obeyed the rules on the wall right next to him. Don't talk. But you see someone standing facing a corner in the dark, bleeding and whispering gibberish into their palms, and you're not just gonna walk by. Not if you think you're in a fucking trafficking ring. Not if you think maybe this is some sick organ-stealing basement, and you're about to get carved open for parts. So yeah, I asked him a question. Where the hell are we? And the moment the words left my lips, he stopped whispering. I took a step back, because it's jarring as fuck when there is sudden silence. He didn't turn around when he suddenly said, "Now it knows your voice." Something changed right then. The air got tighter, thicker, like sound waves were sticking to the drywall. Something had heard me. I felt it in my teeth. The silence afterward was the worst. It wasn't stillness. It was waiting. A few minutes later, I heard something crawling, just ahead, dragging itself down the hallway. It sounded wet. I hid in a shadowed alcove, trying to stop myself from breathing hard. Then it staggered by. I couldn't see much, just long limbs bent at wrong angles and an emaciated body wrapped in thin flesh, weeping something black from its back. It was moaning softly, over and over.
Help, help, please. It hurts.
It sounded scared. I thought some very bad people did very horrible things to this person. As it passed, I just reached out, hand barely touching its bony shoulder, and in a low voice said, "Hey." The moment I touched it, it convulsed. Its head snapped back with a crack, as if something took a sledgehammer and slammed it into its face. The back of its head was actually touching its own back, and I was looking at its upside-down face. Its eyes rolled until I saw nothing but white. Mouth split open like a rotten peach. It screamed, and its scream was a mirror of mine. Same pitch, same volume, same panic. I was hearing my own scream coming out of something else's mouth. I bolted, but I wasn't fast enough. I felt claws hook into my side and rip down my hip to my knee. I don't know if I passed out from the pain or the shock. When I opened my eyes, I was alone. I got up and started walking again. You already know what happened with my jaw. I guess I should explain how. The moment I broke rules 1 and 2, it got bolder. Yeah, I was scared, and yeah, the claws hurt like hell. But I was still alive. The lights behind me died in sequence. Each step I took forward, another one behind me went black. And the sound? My own footsteps weren't alone anymore. It was mimicking me. Each time I ran, it ran exactly the same. Not faster, not slower. Just a perfect imitation. There was a moment I couldn't help myself. I turned just a little. A glance. Reflex. Just the corner of my eye. And I saw it. Flesh that wasn't flesh. Not really. Not anymore. It looked burned, charred. A ribcage that looked like it was pulled open. And my own face stitched over something else's skull. It grinned, just like I do. The same expression I felt myself make when I first woke up here and thought some crazy chick drugged and robbed me. And then it charged. Before I could scream, it tackled me into the wall, and I swear I felt drywall crumble around my spine. It jammed fingers, my fingers, down my throat, ripped sideways like it was pulling the zipper on a meat suit. My jaw ripped away. I felt the stretch of skin, the snap of sinew until, mercifully, finally, it tore loose. I didn't black out while my jaw was being wrenched from my face, but I wished I had. No, that would have been too easy. I blacked out after. I woke up again, no pain, and you guessed it, no jaw. But I'm not bleeding, I'm just here. Same hallway, same smell, same dead lights. But now there's a room, one I never noticed before. It wasn't there yesterday, or the day before, or maybe it was. and I just didn't notice. Inside, a single desk, paper and a pen. And on the wall, there are no rules written, not anymore. So I sit at the desk and I write. Warning after warning, story after story, names I remember, faces I've seen, screams I've heard. I look out through the small square window in the room and watch others walk the hallway. They all make the same mistakes. Some talk, some touch, some look back, and all of them scream. Sometimes, I see myself, a copy of a copy, another Blake, fresh, panicked, trying to reason it out like I did. He never listens. None of them do. I used to tell myself this was just some fucked up backrooms body harvesting experiment. Something concrete, something you could name. You don't jump straight to afterlife when you wake up in a concrete box with dried blood on you and rules etched into the walls. But after a while, logic loses the fight. You grow numb to the walls after a while. The peeling paint, the smell of wet copper, the constant hum like a tuning fork deep in your skull. No matter where I walk, the halls keep going. Doors keep changing. Time doesn't mean a damn thing. A few days ago, or whatever passes for days down here, I opened a door and found myself, face down on the floor, blood trailing out from my nose like I'd taken a shovel to the head. Didn't move when I called out, so I left him a note. Rule 1, don't talk. Rule 2, don't touch anything that moves. Rule 3, don't look back. Try not to screw up this time. Taped it right to his shirt. Maybe he'll listen. Maybe. Sometimes I see rooms that feel off, like looking through warped glass into somewhere else entirely. One room looked peaceful, quiet, like a place you'd go to die on purpose. Plush chair, fireplace, the whole retirement brochure package. But the fire wasn't warm. It hissed like snakes and didn't throw shadows. Another was just static. A room full of TV screens showing different versions of me, with people I never met, driving a car I never owned, walking into a house that wasn't mine, smiling. That one messed me up. Still, I don't believe in much. Never did. I didn't hurt people, but I sure as hell never helped. Spent most of my life self-sabotaging for sport. And if this is the cosmic consequence of wasting your shot, well, joke's on them. I wasted it before they even had to lift a finger. So maybe I'm not dead. Maybe I'm in a coma. Maybe this is my brain eating itself while machines keep my body warm. Or maybe this is purgatory, and I deserve it. I've come to the conclusion I must be dead. No drug trip lasts this long. No hallucination writes its own pages. I never run out of paper. Small perk. I'll take whatever win I can get. Doesn't matter how many notes I scrawl. There's always another sheet waiting on the desk, like the place wants me to keep going. So I do. I write, I warn, I leave notes behind for the next me or someone else. Hell, I'm not the only one down here. Like I said, I see others. But when you're missing a jaw, you tend to freak people out. So if you're reading this, follow the rules. Don't talk, don't touch, don't look back. Because it's always behind you. And if you see it, it sees you back.
I woke up on cold concrete, mouth dry, heart screaming. No memory, no name, just a feeling of wrong. Everything around me was wrong. The room was square, with no window, no lights, just a flickering red bulb overhead that pulsed like a heartbeat. There was something carved into the wall near the floor, like someone left it for me, right in my line of sight. Rule 1, don't talk. That's it, just that. I laughed, not because anything was funny, but because I was trying to bring control into a situation. But I laughed out loud, and then the walls vibrated, like the concrete itself exhaled. That's when I decided to stop talking. I found the hallway on the other side of a steel door. After I pressed hard enough, it melted open. The air outside was old, moldy, like every breath had to claw its way into my lungs. I walked, barefoot and freezing. And that's when I saw the first note, taped to a wall with some kind of sticky, black residue. Don't touch anything that moves. Seriously, just don't. If it wiggles, keep walking. The handwriting was jagged, like whoever wrote it was shaking. I kept walking. The halls were damp, like the walls sweated. I counted my steps to stay sane, got to 100 until the hall forked. On the left, it smelled like rot. The right, warm copper. Fuck. I stood here for a minute. I went right. Because if it was fresh, maybe whose ever body it fell out of was alive, and they could help me get out. I only got 30 steps in when I saw a girl. She looked to be in her teens. Long, dark, stringy hair swaying ever so slightly, along with her shivering, like she'd been locked in a freezer. My first thought was that I hoped she gave hell to whoever stuck her in this place. I took a tentative step toward her. She stepped back. I stopped. A sound like bones cracking and popping kept echoing from her body. As I watched, her shivering got more intense. She almost looked like a blurred version of herself. I backed away. Didn't touch. Didn't talk. She suddenly stopped, then turned and bolted down the hall. I stood there shaking, trying to keep my shit together as I heard the slaps of her feet receding until there was absolutely nothing. After a while, when I was sure she wouldn't come racing back down that hall, I kept walking. And the notes kept coming, sometimes on paper stuck to doors, other times written on walls. After a while, I saw a third rule. Don't ever look back. I started collecting them, folding them, piecing together Blake's rules. Yeah, I know his name now. He wrote it on the last note I found. I'm Blake. I'm still here. Somewhere. Sometime later, I came across a nursery. That's what it looked like anyway. Soft pink light bleeding from the cracks around the door. A faded teddy bear lay on the floor outside. It twitched once, then stopped. I didn't touch it. Didn't talk. I remembered the rules. The door creaked open on its own. Because of course it did. Inside was a mobile spinning above an empty crib. The walls were covered in children's handprints, but the hands were too small. Too many fingers. I tried to back out. Not turn around. I wouldn't. Blake told me not to. But my back hit a wall. Panic wanted to climb out of my throat. There shouldn't have been a wall behind me. I was in a doorway, not even inside the room. I knew I couldn't go back. Then I saw the figure in the corner. A woman. Thin. Spine bent as if something crushed her just enough for it to snap. She cradled a bundle in her arms, rocking back and forth, crooning a lullaby that sounded like screaming slowed to a lowered pitch. Then she looked at me. Her face was familiar. Mine, if I was starved and hadn't slept in years. That's when my body should have panicked, should have ran, should have had a screaming breakdown. But it didn't. Because years ago, long before this place, I'd already been broken. When I was small, I learned not to scream, learned not to run, learned how to freeze so hard you disappear inside your own skin. Back then, it nearly killed me. Here, it saved me. The thing that wore my face stood slowly, creaking with every joint. She offered me the bundle, held it out, arms trembling, whispering,
Your turn.
I didn't move, didn't speak, didn't blink, just stared at her chest, not her eyes, not the things swaddled in mold and darker things. Eventually, slowly, she sat back down and started rocking again. The door behind me opened on its own, but I was already gone. When I came back to myself, my eyes drifted up. There was no crib, no version of me rocking. Just an open door across the room. I hesitated for just a second and started walking. The air in this one felt different. Cooler, like old stone. A mausoleum. Inside, dim amber light. A single desk and one man. His back was towards me, and he was writing furiously. Like if he stopped, the place would swallow him whole. His arm moved in sharp bursts. Pages crumpled at his feet. The scratching of his pen was the only sound, and it didn't stop. Not even when I stepped in. It should have felt comforting, another human. But I knew better by now. Things that looked human weren't always. I was backing out, slow and careful, when he froze. Just stopped. The stillness sucked all the air out of the room. The pen dropped, but he didn't turn around. And that made it worse. Something about his posture, the way his shoulders curled inward. He looked ashamed, or maybe afraid. Why won't he turn? That tiny thought. It festered, swelled. Then with painful slowness, his hand moved again. Not toward me, toward the page. He wrote something, tore it out, held it up beside him like a flag. Don't freak out. My stomach twisted. He started to turn. He was missing his jaw. Not broken. Gone. Torn off like someone had tried to yank the scream out of his throat by the root. I saw tendon, loose strips of muscle. His tongue lolled like a drowned slug. Blood dried black down his neck, old and crusted like it had happened a while ago. I nearly screamed. Almost. My hands flew up to my mouth, but I didn't make a sound. I felt lightheaded, but I didn't collapse, didn't speak. I'd learned how to break without making noise. That old survival trick kicking in again like a muscle memory. Instead, I took 2 hard steps back to steady myself. Then another, until I was almost out of the room. He raised another note. I'm Blake. I blinked. Blake? The name from the notes. The handwriting matched. Same hurried slant. Same torn edges. My breathing calmed. Barely. He scribbled again. Fast. You're not the first person to see me like this. Just the first to stay. He stood slowly, limped to a nearby stack of loose pages. Rifled through them until he found one that looked older, more worn. Held it up like a lifeline. Follow the rules. Don't talk. Don't touch. Don't look back. I nodded. Mechanical. Robotic. He sighed from his broken mouth for the 10th time. I didn't blame him, though. I've been scribbling just as furiously as he was asking how to get out of this shithole. He passed me the note like it weighed 100 pounds. I've walked the halls, opened every door, tried everything. If there's a way out, another pause, another page. It's not for people like us. I sat down across from him. The floor was cold and sticky, and I didn't care. I tore a strip from the bottom of the page and wrote, "So that's it? We're just fucked?" He read it, snorted through his nose, didn't smile, couldn't, but I caught the ghost of what used to be one. He scribbled, "Welcome to the team." I shook my head, the smallest laugh slipping out. Soundless, not breaking the rule. I bit my tongue just to be safe. Wrote back, "Name's Laura. In case we're gonna die together or whatever." He tapped his pen against his notebook. "Blake." I stared at him. Jawless, half-starved, writing like a man trying to hang on to the last thread of himself. But there was something still alive in his eyes. Something stubborn. I tapped the page again. "You said you tried everything. Alone. Maybe that's the problem." He hesitated, then tilted his head like he hadn't considered it. Like part of him didn't want to hope again. I didn't blame him, but I wasn't ready to rot here in silence. I kept writing. There's got to be something we missed. He didn't answer right away. Just started writing again, fast. Pages flipping. Then he handed me a new sheet. "There's a hallway I didn't finish. Lights were red, doors were locked. I couldn't get through. I wrote, "Let's go." He didn't move. I raised an eyebrow like, "What, you busy?" He scratched something else down. "Once we go down that hallway, we might not come back." "Yeah?" I wrote. "That's starting to sound like a perk." He shook his head, the closest thing to a laugh he could manage without a jaw. I stood up and offered him a hand. He didn't take it, just got up slow, notebook in hand, pen ready. We didn't talk, didn't need to. Whatever this place was, it had rules, and we were still playing by them. Or at least I was. Looking at Blake's face, I had a feeling he knew from personal experience what happened when you didn't follow them. We reached a pair of massive steel double doors. Red light buzzed above them like an alarm on life support. The air on this side was different, pressurized, like stepping into the chest cavity of something dead, but waiting. Blake looked at me. I didn't say anything, couldn't. Rules were rules. I raised a brow like, "You going first or am I?" He responded with a half shrug that somehow said, "Ladies first, if you're feeling lucky." I pushed the doors open and found hell, but not the religious kind. A long corridor stretched out, each side lined with glass-walled cells, not cages, more like viewing tanks. Each one had a number and a monitor. Some blinked green, some flickered red. The first one we passed, I stopped. A woman sat hunched over, sobbing, but her body glitched. A small twitch, then a full rewind. She'd reset and cry again. Same sobs, same breaths, same collapse. It was like she was just on repeat. The next cell was worse. Inside was a man sitting cross-legged on the floor, rocking slowly. His eyes were wrong. They rolled in different directions, like they were trying to escape his skull. He mouthed silent screams while his fingers tore at non-existent bugs. One cell was empty. I looked into the static on the monitor. There was nothing at first. Then I saw my own face scream back at me. I was strapped down on a gurney, and just as suddenly, the image went away. We kept walking, looking into tank after tank, and then everything shifted. Not a sound, not a flicker. In one instant, we were watching hellish scenes go by, and in one blink, the dark hallway became white. Bleached walls, overhead lights that didn't buzz, just hummed. It was a hospital now. The glass cells were replaced with bays, each with someone strapped down, hooked up, wired to monitors. The beeping came in soft at first, then louder, then matched our steps. I turned and looked into the closest bed and froze. It was me. Thrashing under restraints, eyes rolling back in my head, teeth gnashing air. A doctor leaned in, adjusted a drip, wrote something down. I reached toward the glass, then stopped myself. Nick's Bay, Blake. His face was whole, but he was shaking, convulsing. Hooked to wires, an IV line pushing something black into his veins. His hands were going manic, trying to grasp at something. Anything. I turned and looked at him. Blake beside me. Jaw gone, eyes wide. And in those eyes, I saw terror. What the fuck is this place? Blake's head snapped my way. That's when I realized I spoke out loud, and all at once everything went black.
Log 021-8X. Nictus internal use, subject 357, Blake, and subject 919, Laura, showed elevated resistance to reality drift at hour 126 and breached their cognitive containment loops during stage 4 of induced hallucination. Subject 357 demonstrated continued fragment recall. Possible cognitive bleed-through. Subject 919 displayed early-stage adaptive response rather than full emotional collapse. indicates potential for subject weaponization in future iterations. Both subjects began cross-loop interactions. Loop anchor adjustments required. Project HollowMind continues successful testing of NeuroSeries 9A, an experimental control agent designed to fracture, loop, and overwrite conscious perception in target populations. Subjects classified as Tier D expendable. All criminal, political, or disposables sourced from international correctional facilities. Readministration scheduled. End log. Dr. K. Vorth, lead Psychoneural Warfare Division at Nictus Labs, stood at the head of a classified room. A sleek table stretched in front of him. On the screen behind him, looping footage of Blake and Laura clawing at invisible horrors and thrashing in silence. A voice in the dark asked, "What's the end use?" Vorth smiled, shark slick. You want to break a target without lifting a finger? You want to scramble truth, loyalty, even self-recognition? This drug doesn't just manipulate what they see, it makes them doubt what they are. He clicked, and the video changed. Combat testing. A man with hollow eyes executed his entire squad, thinking they were enemies. He clicked again. A woman expressionless walks right off a building. He then opened the file in front of him, taking in the list of bidders. Private Corps, Black Ops branches, foreign governments. Fingers from all over the globe wanted in. "Gentlemen," Vorth said, "HollowMind is almost ready for sale. All we need is to patch the bleed-through loop. A few of the rats are leaving themselves clues, but we'll fix that."
I woke up on cold concrete and opened my eyes to a room that smelled like a meat locker. A drip echoed from somewhere. I sat up slowly, bones aching, mouth dry. In the dim light, I saw a note stuck to the floor by my hand. "Don't talk. Don't touch. Don't look back."
And there you have it. Thanks for listening to Blake and Laura's grim little tale. I've always been fascinated by how thin the line is between logic and the supernatural. How two people can survive the same nightmare and still walk away with wildly different truths. Reminds me of the old saying, there's your side, their side, and what really happened. So Blake lost his jaw, Laura lost her patience, and together they proved one thing. Nothing bonds people like mutual psychological torture. Just remember, if you ever find yourself in a place with rules, follow them, or don't. But if you end up jawless, don't say we didn't warn you. Ah, the suspense of it all. Well, until next time.